What's going on, guys? Today's episode is sponsored by Sonora Tires, Alakai Health, Toros Meat Market, Sleek Studios, Easy Leans Law Firm. Now let's get back to it.
Hey guys, thank you for tuning in one more time. 10 Count by Deor. We're blessed, we're privileged to have the one and only one of my good friends, Henry Garcia. He's going to be telling us a lot of his good stories and how they got to where they're at right now. Just stay tuned because it's going to be an amazing podcast. And Henry, thank you for taking the time and being here with us. I know you're super busy and it's always an honor having you here, brother. And thank you once again for coming in and giving us this time.
Thank you, Caesar, and thank dental experts of Riverside.
There we go.
Thank you guys as well. It's a pleasure.
Thank you. Talking about a little bit about dental expert service. How are you liking your smile?
Oh my God, I smile every day now. I can't stop smiling.
I show all the pearly whites. Huh?
That's right. I love it, and thanks to you and your staff and your company, it's just been amazing, and I recommend a lot of people to come here.
Thank you. It's been our pleasure. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Henry, let's get to your story, brother. I mean, I know behind cameras we've been talking, and every time you come, we have good conversations. But tell us about your story, how everything started, and the mic is yours.
All right. Well, basically what happened was when the kids were young, I got them into baseball. I got them into, a lot of things, a lot of sports. But I noticed that Ryan was very active, and he was catching the balls, really good. I'm thinking, hey, this boy is very talented, The only problem was that, his teammates weren't as aggressive as he was or active, So it really just bummed him out, when they came in fourth place.
Oh, man.
So as a kid, you're not going to take that to heart too much.
Right.
You're gonna be feeling down, So I told him, hey, don't worry about it, He goes, no, Dad, I was expecting a trophy. And they gave him a bobblehead. he goes, this is no trophy, Dad.
All that hard work for a bobblehead.
Yeah, so I tell him, well, he goes, no, it's my teammates, Dad. He goes, I need something different. And I said, well, I said, my brother and I were into boxing. I said, but my brother, he's the one that I know that could get you started. He goes, in what? I said, well, in boxing. And he goes, well, let's go see him. So I took him to go see my brother. And my brother said, well, it's you want instant gratification. He goes, so in that case, he goes, this is a bout that you win if you keep on fighting. And that's what really got him excited. He goes, so it's just one-on-one? He goes, yeah, it's one-on-one.
No teammates.
No teammates. So
no tapping in the next person.
Exactly. So, he loved it. And that's when I saw it. And I was thinking, well, I'm a working, man and all Definitely. That. I said, but my brother at the time was free, and I told my brother, I said, if you could do me the favor, I said, can you please get him started, get his foundation going? And he goes, absolutely. I said, I'll pay you. I said, don't worry about that. I'll pay you every week, but just get him started. That was the best decision I made for my son because, as a result, he became, where he is today. Yeah. Today, yeah. So it was really nice. And then Sean came afterwards, because Sean, of course, the younger brother looks at him and says, hey, what about me? So it just went on, and it was a journey. I mean, just doing that and then getting into the amateurs. That awesome. Was just amazing.
How was it with Sean and Ryan when they first started? Were they very competitive?
That's a very good question. Yeah. Yes. It was very, very, very competitive to a point where I had to separate them.
Wow.
Yeah. I mean, literally separate them because it's just a natural instinct. When you're in that sport, it's like you just, you hate each other.
Yeah.
You really, you have the skills, you've beaten other people, you're a southpaw, he's a, right-hander, and you just bump now, even though you're blood, your brothers, it gets ugly.
They want to show each other they're on
yeah,
than you, right?
and then if I'm there, of course they want to please me as well, but it's something I don't recommend. You any coach or father doing is putting their sons together because they're gonna fight.
Yeah.
You know, it's like you're saying, go ahead, you know.
Right.
I'm giving you the green light. I'm your dad, you know. It's like, oh, okay, you know. It gets ugly. So I finally said, enough is enough, and I stopped it. I said, no. I said, this cannot happen because it gets ugly.
Yeah.
You
Would
know.
they be inside the ring? Would they, obviously they were gonna go at it like that, but outside of the ring, were they still upset at each other? Or
No,
they were
it only
just
happens inside.
Yeah.
It even happened in the garage
that's a
too.
good
Like yikes, you know.
That
Because we
sibling
didn't.
rivalry, they turn off that light switch. We're not brothers right now, right?
Right.
Wow.
It gets really, really personal. And I'm glad I discovered it just in time. But
good.
I'm telling you, it was a lot of moments where I would say, oh, wow, it's starting off good. You know, it's starting great. You know, I love it, you know. And I'm like, uh-oh.
What did I start?
What? Like, you know, it's just a bad choice. It's like, no. So, I ended up stopping it just completely. I was like, okay, that's it. That's enough. And then I just made it a point, you know.
You didn't have moments where you were like, yourself, you're just watching them fight and be like, oh, damn, Sean got good hands on Ryan, or Ryan got good hands on
that's
Sean.
the problem, is that if he did get good hands on Ryan would just say, oh, okay. Okay,
Come back
you
stronger.
wanna fight like this? Okay. Oh my God, it got ugly. So it's like, no, you can't do that. And it's legal.
Right.
It's legal when you're sparring, you know,
Yeah.
and you're not elbowing, you're not kicking, it's just boxing.
Right.
But it can get really, really aggressive.
Wow.
No, definitely. I'm pretty sure. And I noticed that you actually started your gym at a garage, right?
Yes.
Tell us
yes.
about that. How
Well,
did that come to mind? Or
What happened was when Ryan was 7 years old, I took him to a gym. It's a High Desert Boxing Club, which they still have it there. And the coach is Javier, but back then it was Herman Love. Herman Love was the coach back then, and he knows that Ryan was, very good and moving and this, and he goes, "Hey, your boy's pretty good." He goes, "I'm gonna put him into a show fight, because when you're 8 years old, you can get your license. Here in the States, you can get your license, boxing license, and you could immediately start fighting, against other gyms, and I had to stop him, and I told him, you know what, I have to be honest with you about something. I said, he's only 7 years old. Oh my God. He says, "Yacht?" He goes, "Are you kidding me?" And I thought he was going to say, okay, well, wait till he's 8 years old. Oh no.
Right.
He immediately kicked me out. Immediately.
Wow.
Like, get out, I don't need you here. Get out.
Wow.
And I was like, whoa. I said, okay, and I just left, right? But then I'm thinking, was he kidding, or maybe we misunderstood each other or something.
Right.
So I went the next day. Oh my God, it even was worse.
Oh.
He goes, "I told you to get out. Didn't I tell you?" Wow. And my son was right there, Ryan. And I was like, oh my God. I said, this guy is serious, And Javier, the assistant coach, he pulled me aside. He goes, "Hey, you know what? Don't worry. When he's 8 years old, bring him back. I'll work with him." I said, "Oh, thank you." So I get in the car and we go back home. And then my son's got his head down. And he's like, "Man, Dad, I don't know what's going on." He goes, he bummed out. And he says, "What do we do?" And I'm thinking, the mind that I have, I'm like, I'll figure this out, And sure enough, I said, wait a minute. There's a garage here. I said, I could hang bags here. I said, you know what? I said, "Ryan, I got the solution." He goes, "What's that?" I said, "Let's make this our gym."
Wow.
Oh my God. Again, the best choice I made, because we grew. And I was thinking, I don't need a gym,
Right.
because it's right here. We got the bags. We got our own bags, and these are legit. We've got, I got the mitts. I got everything. The only thing we don't have is the sparring. But guess what? We can go to another gym.
Yeah.
And they accept sparring.
Yeah,
It's
no,
like, so
definitely.
I'll use their gym for their ring,
Right.
to do the sparring. So work out and apply it to sparring. And then from sparring, we apply it to a real fight. And we did that for years. I mean, years of rotation. And eventually I went to Javier, but I didn't use their gym anymore because I was offended at that
Right.
point. And then it's like, it's like Herman Love just left the scene.
Right.
He didn't care anymore. He was gone. Javier was there, and I sometimes use Javier's ring as a sparring, session. But that's how I did. I traveled, and I found myself just traveling. I was like, man, these just don't have a ring, and they're pretty good. So that's how it started.
Yeah.
And you were the coach, or was it you brought your brother along as well to help
My
you
brother
out?
was the coach in the beginning, but he had he was on disability, nothing, but he was just he didn't want to take them out.
Mm-hmm.
He didn't want to take them out and to show fights. And my son again, bummed out, and he's like, "Dad, I'm doing all this training, but I want to fight." I like, "Okay." I said, "All right, I'll tell you what. I'll squeeze my schedule, and I'll make it happen. I mean, I'm your dad, so I'll be your coach,
Right.
because I used to box too,
Okay.
in Chicago. That's where I'm originally from. Yeah, Chicago, South Side Chicago.
There we go.
So it's it was really nice, and that's a story in itself, how I started. But anyways, I decided, what, I would help him out. I would train him as well. And then, of course, my brother and I, just like Sean and Ryan, we bumped heads a little bit, like, oh, what are you doing? I said, well, if you're not going to take him, I have to learn the business. I got to learn everything. And I want my son to go out there because he wants it, Any father would do that for their kids, whether it's their daughter or their son. So I ended up doing that, and my brother, would, eventually say, well, if you're going to do it, then, I'm out. I said, well, I don't want you out, but I'm just telling you that join me, No, I'm not going to go. I said, all right. So it just escalated into that where I figured I would just take him myself. And I'm glad I did because I saw the development, and then again, like I said, Sean came back into that picture too. And it just grew from that point.
Yeah,
But that's awesome because and thank you for making us a champion because not a lot of parents are really there with their kids and not because sometimes maybe they don't want to but it's just the bills, the responsibilities and stuff like that. But I mean it takes that dedication and it takes that you're always there for him. And I mean, I think that said a lot, and that's why, part of this is the reason where he's at is because of you. You always kept him going. You always believed in him, and that's that as a parent, I applaud you, and it's very, very, awesome that you were able to do that for him, and learn the business because just like anything, everybody thinks it's easy.
Oh my God.
But I'm pretty sure you went through ups and downs and hoops and whatnot to learn and to be part of boxing and that's just amazing, and I applaud you for that.
Yeah, thank you.
Not only that, but also being there, like he said, next to him and being a part of the whole journey with him as well.
Well,
both of you guys experienced it together.
It definitely was a journey, and the way I saw it was, you're right when you said it, that the cost, and the way things are you're introduced to the business, you're introduced to politics, you're introduced to finances and all that. And I was like, how am I going to do this? I know I work, but I got all these other bills. But they told me, and they said, your kid is pretty good, and we understand your financial situation, so you can volunteer. You can volunteer as a referee, as a judge, you can, but you can't be near your son. You have to be away. But we'll give you the opportunity. The USA Boxing will give you the opportunity to go ahead and be part of us as a volunteer. And they won't even give us $30 afterwards or $20, just to volunteer,
Right.
whoever's hosting the show. So I was like, well, if I could do that, what's going to pay off is that they pay for your hotel.
Oh, awesome.
So if they're paying for your hotel as a judge or a referee, that's how it's done. I'm thinking, wow, I don't mind doing that. You know, I mean, I'm there. My son's fighting way out there. I'm over here judging. He's way out there, you know. And I said, and I'm getting money here and there. I'm getting food, and I got a hotel room for them. I'm like, okay, why not?
Win-win for
it.
everybody.
Yeah, win-win situation. So that's how it all played out, and I'm glad I did that. And for those coaches that when my son would win, they would say, well, he's only winning because you're a judge or a referee. I was like, you know, I was like, all right, that's,
There's always those people.
There's always those people. So what I did was, and Munchie knows this very well, I would go to their gym secretly. You know, I wouldn't tell them because remember, I didn't have a ring. I just had my garage.
Right.
But I knew that, you know, this is where it's going to be. And I would secretly go visit them, and I would say, I know this is your top fighter. Is it okay that we can spar? And of course, they're going to say yes. You know why?
They wanted to prove something.
They want to prove something. They want to say, I told you guys, you're only winning because you're a judge or a referee. Oh, my God. After that, they were like, you know what? Forget what I said. Your son is the real deal. Your son knows how to fight. You don't need to be a judge. You don't have to be a referee. You just need to be a coach. You know, because I said, yeah, but I don't have the money that I want right now. I said, so I have to volunteer. He goes, well, you proved a point. And I had to do that a lot of places. And once the word got around that, you know, hey, you know, he's the real deal, because the way you could save yourself is by beating the likes of Devin Haney and all these other boxers that were also growing up, you know, Virgil Ortiz, you know, and other boxers that we had to face, and national titles.
Right.
Try to win a national title. That is no joke.
Right.
Ryan won 15 times.
Wow.
Okay. And Sean won it 7 times.
Amazing.
Try to win one. I'm going to congratulate you, because it's not easy. You have to win the district, which is all L.A., Los Angeles. You got to beat them.
Right.
Then you got to win the state, and there's 4 parts of the state. Wow. Then you got to go to the regionals, where it's Vegas, you know, New Mexico, and you know. And then you got to go to nationals, New York, you know, Texas, and all that. I mean, it's just Hawaii. You've got to beat everybody in their top
tier level and everything.
Level, because they've beaten their guys. So they're moving up the ladder as well as you are. So by the time you get to the nationals, it's number 1 against number 1. You're fighting the best of the best, because they eliminate their guys, and their you know, city or state. They've already beaten them, so they're like, "Hey, man, I'm ready for a national. Who are we fighting? Oh, you're fighting Ryan Garcia. Pfft, it's okay. It's not okay, because this guy knows how to fight. You're fighting Sean. Oh, that's all right. No, he's the southpaw. Be careful." And these guys know how to fight. And man, when they seen that, they were like, my God, this is not easy, bro.
They were in disbelief.
It's not easy. And we fight all kind of races, you know.
Right.
Whites, Mexicans, Hispanics, you know, blacks, you know, Puerto Ricans, you know. You name it, you know. It's all there. They're all there. Trust me, they're all there.
Yeah.
You know, and it's a beautiful sport, man. And that's what separates, you know, them from being, you know, like the criticism that I got, that they only won because of this. No, they won because they were trained properly. Their skill set is good, is a high percentage, and this is why they're winning, you know. And I proved it time and time and time.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
And I think that's the best way to show, you know, that they,
Yeah.
that, to shut them up pretty
You
much,
have to,
basically,
you
know.
have to, because it's a cruel world out there.
Yeah.
You know, it's very, you know, critique, you know, and and very political. Very political. That's another avenue that you're gonna take. Trust me, that's another avenue. Politics can ruin someone. It can ruin your son's career if you're not hip to it. If you're not, educated enough to understand what is really going on here.
How do you deal with all that, Henry? Because I know there's a lot of, again, politics, but they're not just politics. There's a lot of bad people out there that want to take advantage of that. How do you guys deal with all of that?
Well, basically what you have to do is you have to know who you are.
Right.
Don't worry about who they are.
Right.
That's, something that, they're born with, or they grew up that way. That's their nature. Your nature is to protect and to train and to win. That's your job as a father or a coach. That's your job. Don't worry about anybody else. There's a lot of hate in this world. There's a lot of envious, jealousy, what have you. There's so much out there. But there's politics where this person can say, well, we're going to make sure that you win. So don't worry about it. And it's this inside information. And you're like, wow, Ryan would always win, and Sean, they will win best boxer of the show or best boxer of the tournament, And then one lady picked this other person who Ryan beat, and he was the best boxer. And I asked her, I said, well, and she was a judge, a high profile judge. And I said, is there a reason why you didn't pick my son, even though he beat this guy? Oh, well, Ryan wins too much.
Oh, my God.
That's no excuse, though.
Exactly. But for her, it was.
Wow.
So that's the kind of stuff you're going to deal with. And the answer to your question is that, remember, don't let that sidetrack you, because you are who you are and your son is who he is, and just join together and just continue the path that you're taking. Because you're going to, just always going to have bump in the roads. You're always going to have that. But can you just continue?
Right.
And if you continue, you're going to beat all the odds.
Mm-hmm.
You're going to go through all these bumps, like you said, up and down. Yeah, you're going to go through all that. But your focus should be, where am I starting, and where would I like to see myself in the end?
Yeah.
And that's what's important in life.
That's true, because also you were showing Ryan at the time, hey, don't let all these other little distractions or these people that are trying to stop you or trying to bring you down. You're showing them, hey, the discipline on, hey, don't worry about them. Focus on you. Keep going forward.
Yeah. Well, I basically told Ryan that one time about when that coach did that to us, and I found the solution about training them in the garage. But after that, you don't want to give them too much politics, insight, politics, because it throws them off. Now they're thinking, oh man, am I going to lose today because of politics? You don't want to bring that up. As an adult or as a father or as a coach, that there's politics, like as soon as you walk in, and you're like, okay, but you want to be courteous, friendly, and all that. But the bottom line is that when there's a national tournament, when you've already reached the top, that's when you got to fight the politics.
Right.
You got to meet them head on.
Right.
And there was one time when we fought Brian Lua, which made Ryan, that had beaten Ryan twice. Ryan had beat him in Oxnard, and then he was really good. He's the nephew of Antonio Diaz, from Indio. Yeah. And nephew, and very good, and he had beaten Ryan, had beaten him, and then he beat Ryan twice after that. And we were going into the nationals in Reno, and I'm thinking, I told Ryan, could you let me know, because I was working at the time, so I would have maybe an assistant coach, go ahead and work the corner. But I would ask Ryan, said, how do you feel? Why did you think you lost? Or, can you tell me, do you feel that you were hitting him at will? He goes, of course I was hitting him at will, Dad. It was easy. But I ran out of gas. I was like, got it. You need more conditioning. I said, okay. But the politics, getting back into that, I said, well, I already took care of the issue that I found out from Ryan. I said, but the judges, I got to make sure that they're neutral.
Mm-hmm.
So all you got to do, and I'm giving the answers to these coaches, all you have to do is go straight to the chief official or whoever's organizing it and tell them that you would like to request neutral judges, meaning that they can't be from LA, they can't be from Vegas, they have to be outside, outsiders that don't know these boxers.
Right.
And that's how you fight politics. And as soon as that happened, boom, we beat Brian Lua.
Wow.
See, and that's how you get the answers. That's how you figure it out. And I tell you, it's you learn as you go, but I've got so much knowledge on how to fight these, and they're basically demons.
Right.
You gotta fight these demons, and I'm telling you, it's sometimes hard. But like I told you about the path that you're going through, you just got to keep on. Don't stop. Mm-hmm. If you see that your kid has the talent, whether it's being an artist or being a soccer player or a boxer or whatever, and you see it, you're going to see it from a far distance too.
Right.
And you'll be surprised that far distance will give you the answer and say, that's the one that's going to make it right there, because they're sticking out. Even though it's a far distance. And it could be your son, too. But to that far distance, you're like, yep, that's the one right there. And it's weird because you don't force it. You
comes
can't
naturally.
Force it, bro.
Genuinely.
You can't. It's got to be general. It's got to be authentic, because so many parents force their kids to do something that they don't really want to do, but being that you're the parent, they're going to respect you and they're going to try to please you. But deep in their heart, they're like, I don't like it. And those are the ones that fail. See? So if your kid tells you, I want it, Dad, I'm running late, take me, come on. That's what you want to hear.
Yeah.
Not like, hey, come on. Didn't I tell you that when I got home from work, you should be ready? Where's your bag? Where's your... Wrong approach. It's not going to last. And it won't. Because could you imagine if you can't be in control of this situation, you think you're going to be in control of him fighting other fighters and then going through the politics? And then going through the district, the state, the regionals, and the nationals. Ain't no way, bro. He ain't going to make it.
Right.
So you might as well stop wasting your money. I'm sorry to say, but it's not going to happen.
Right.
But, I mean, I know what I'm saying is real because I've been there. And I can only say it because I've been there.
True.
And I've got so many stories that would just blow people away.
Oh, I bet. I mean, I'm pretty sure you've seen it all.
I've seen it all. I've experienced it all, and I've seen how people grow into it, and you'll see the amateurs, you'll see the ones that are sticking out. You see them right away. You'll see them. Like I'm telling you, just keep that in mind. You'll see them out there, and you'll be like, wow, these guys are already looking colorful. It's gonna happen, and most likely 9 times out of 10, it won't happen.
No, definitely.
Mm-hmm.
Henry, what was the feeling when Ryan got signed for the first time? Like, just the fact that you've been with him for so long and going through so long, like ups and downs, like I was telling you.
Yes.
What was that feeling?
Well, it was a very good feeling because Oscar had already scouted him, and Oscar would back then you could text someone, and he was texting Ryan. Ryan was young; he was like 17, going on 18, and then he would say, "Hey, Dad, Oscar is writing to me." I'm like, "What?" He goes, "Yeah, he's writing to me." I said, "Nah." I said, yeah. He goes, "Yeah, Dad. He's telling me that I got a good jab. That he likes the way I fight. I like, wow, that's interesting. And I just left it at that. I didn't say, Oscar De La Hoya, I mean, I didn't say that. I just said, oh, okay, well, I wasn't sure if it was him.
Right.
But I was like, oh, that's good then, And then when Ryan finally got into the scene, when he won his 15th national title against Brian Lua, he said, hey, Dad, I'm ready for the Olympics, because he made the Olympic team.
Right.
Ryan made the Olympic team, with everybody else, but they boycotted somewhere in Russia where he couldn't make it. And he goes, Dad, what do I do now? I said, well, I think it's time. I think this is a sign. I think it's time to turn pro. And as soon as I said that, we had our first 4 fights in Tijuana. Now, talk about politics, brother. That's wicked politics right there, bro. It's just interesting. Like, wow, bro.
Crazy.
Oh, my God. I don't recommend that either. Trust me. Trust me. That's some wicked stuff, what they try to do with Ryan and Sean. Oh,
wow.
my God. Ugly stuff. Ugly. But, again, we overcame those bumps,
Right.
And then, when he did that, I think it was, what is it? It was Bob Arum,
from Top Rank, no?
Top Rank,
yeah,
asked Ryan to fight for them. And Top Rank said, you just got to sell tickets. But, we hear that you're a pretty good fighter, and we'll put you against somebody,
Mm-hmm.
And I said, Ryan, let's do it. I said, why not? It's Top Rank. I said, you never know. Mm-hmm. Ryan ended up knocking this dude out, man. Boom.
Wow.
I was like, all right. I said, this is your 5th fight. I said, and look, you're already fighting for Top Rank, Oh, boy. Oscar De La Hoya. I was like, please, Ryan, don't tell me you signed with Top Rank. And that's how we got into Golden Boy, because Oscar just kept on pushing.
Right.
And it was nice, because at the forum,
Yeah.
the forum was, Ryan, he invited Ryan. He goes, Ryan, I got a press conference, because Bernard Hopkins was fighting against Joe Smith. And he said, I'm going to introduce you as our next fighter, our champion, future champion. And Ryan came with a tuxedo. So as Oscar's talking, he goes, I just want to stop right now. He goes, before I go on with this, he goes, see that guy way in the back? Like I told you, see that guy way in the back, the one that's wearing the tuxedo? Look out for him, because his name is Ryan Garcia. He's with us. Wow. Ryan, step up, and Ryan, like, yeah, I mean, he's just beautiful, man. It was just amazing how it all started. And, my son's tall, he's tall, and handsome, of course, and very marketable. And until this day, he's the way he is, But talk about a journey. That's a journey.
Yeah. Wow. Very humble. He's very humble. And I think you guys have done an amazing job. And, your kids are very humble, very genuine, very giving, and that is something that you don't see every day.
Well, I mean, they get that from me. And I don't mean to boast or anything like that, but they get that from me because when I was with Ryan as a professional trainer, and not only his dad, but professional trainer, he was 13-0 with 12 KOs.
Wow.
Okay. And for a father to step back, you have to be humble.
Right.
And Golden Boy felt that, they wanted their choice of trainers.
Right.
And most fathers that went through all this amateur thing.
Right.
I mean, years of amateur.
Because pretty much you built them.
220 fights, 25 fights. As an amateur with 14 losses, and then Sean. So all these years. And then you turn them into a pro and they're winning and they're knocking people out and they're on ESPN, I mean, for them to tell me you need to step down, you have to be humble in order to accept that and say, okay.
Did it kind of bother you, like in the back of your mind, like, oh shit, like I don't want to back down?
It bothered me, but I told them, well, is it okay? I can be an assistant.
Oh, okay.
I said, is it okay? And they said, at first they were like, well, you're still their father. I said, I know that. I said, but
you've always been in their corners.
I've been in their corner. I said, I know my son more than anybody in this world.
Right.
I said, so if you can give me that opportunity, that'll be great. And they said, well, if the main coach allows it, okay. But see how they said it? If the main coach allows it.
Right.
Now, at that point, any father would say, you know what, screw you. You know,
of course.
I don't care, But I humbled myself.
Right.
And I told myself, I stepped back. And you know why I did that? Because I said, the reason why I did that is because I'd rather be a father at that time,
right,
at that moment, than to become a warrior.
Sure.
I stepped back and I said, you know what, I'll be a dad. And that was the best thing that another decision that I made that was good. Because if you notice, when you lose, and you lose either consistently or you lose a big fight, who's the first person that they get rid of?
Yeah,
the coach. So, do I want that? No. No. Fathers usually get 1 or 2 chances, and that's it.
Right.
Because they get booted out too. But you have to be humble, and you let it all unfold. But the good news is that when Eddie Reynoso became Ryan's trainer, I said, Eddie, I said, thank you for letting me be the assistant. I said, but I want to introduce you to something. He goes, what's that? I said, I designed this one bag. I said, it's a fierce bag, I call it a fierce bag, and then he goes, what do you mean? He goes, it's a bag. I said, it's good. He goes, well, you know what? He goes, we have our bags. He goes, but if Canelo likes it, sure, bring it, and we'll keep it. I was like, wow, here's my chance. Here's my opportunity. Oh, my God, I jumped on it. And I took it there, and Canelo walks in, and he looks, and he goes, what's this? Oh, it's a reflex bag, that Henry designed. Ryan's dad. He goes, really? He goes, can I try it? He goes, aquí está. He goes,
Might as well.
ahead. And he starts eating. He goes, hey, I like it. I like it. And he's like, oh, sí, está bien, And then he looks, and then the next day, I wasn't there, but they filmed him. He goes, hey, this is Henry's bag. Henry's bag, So I was like, wow, he's, and he was just like getting up. Canelo was the face of boxing,
right.
So many years. And he still is,
Yep.
So I was like impressed. I was honored. And Ryan's like, nah, man, this is my bag. Get over here. I'm going to show you how to hit this bag, So guess they're competing like Sean and Ryan. It was Canelo and Ryan,
Right.
And it just evolved into Fierce Reflex.
And now, a quick break to give a shout out to our amazing sponsors who keep this show going.
Powered by nature, driven by grit. Alakai Health All Natural Supplements.
Los Toros Meat Market, where prime steaks sizzle and tacos come alive.
Drive with confidence at Sonora Tires, your Inland Empire family-owned expert since 1984. Premium tires, expert alignments, and custom rims at unbeatable prices. Visit us in Bloomington at 17,977 Valley Boulevard for quality that lasts. Thank you to our amazing sponsors. Now back to the show.
Tell us a little bit more about the back, because it's beautiful. I know you gifted me one, and I mean, it's amazing. People that come here, they're always using it.
Yeah.
But how did that idea started?
Well, the way that started is that Ringside had a Cobra bag. They called it a Cobra bag, and it was a small one. It was for kids only. But it was you could adjust it, but it didn't have. Yeah, it was just kid size. But I was thinking. I saw a magazine where a kid hitting it. I was like, that's interesting, I said, I wouldn't mind, trying it out. And then I bought it. You know, it wasn't that much. It was like, you know, at the time it was like $112. You know, I was like, okay, you know, I'll buy it. You know, I bought it. It came, and I said, okay, it's easy to set up, put sand, you know, and all that. And I'm thinking, all right. I said, hey, kids, look at what I got. A new toy. Forget it. You tell a kid a new toy, they're gonna love it. Whether it's ugly or not, they're like, oh, okay, you know. And since they were into boxing, they were like, hey, I like this, you know. And then they're making their own moves and all like that. I'm like, whoa, you know. I was like, hey, I like this, you know. I said, it's gonna improve their timing and everything, but it kept on breaking and breaking and breaking and breaking, and I was like, oh my God. So, you know, you break a kid's toy, he's not going to be happy, you know.
No,
He's going to say,
right
hey, what's going on, Dad? Don't worry. I ordered the part, you know. I said, I reordered. And then it will break from this angle and then this angle. And just the base, you know, todo. I was like, yikes. I said, okay. I said, no problem. I kept on saying, no problem, you know. And then one time I called the company up, and they said, you know what, sir? We're only selling individual parts. We don't sell the product anymore because we're discontinuing it.
Oh, wow.
Literally, they said we're discontinuing it. And, you know, of course, the light bulb hit. Ding. You know, like, really? Okay. I said, well, I've been correcting it this way, and I've been correcting it this way, so I'm going to start doing it in my own design.
Right.
So that it doesn't break. And it took about 3 years to finally get it where I want it, and maybe 4.
Wow.
Where I finally said, okay, now I sell it all over the world.
The bag of champions. It's known by the bag of champions.
Yes, because
amazing.
The champions are using this bag. They know it works for them. You know, because back then they had the double end bag, you know.
Right.
Some boxers still use it, you know. But that goes way back, you know. They have the speed bag, you know, for their conditioning and all that. But, you know, everything evolves, you know. Remember, there's things that, like the heavy bag's still around, you know. But, you know, people make different heavy styles, bags, you know, different styles. Well, this is new. And this is something that people know, that when you hit that bag, you don't know exactly where it's going to go. So when you're really fighting an opponent, there's no way that opponent, that boxer, is quicker than the fierce reflex bag. There's no way, because that thing's fast. If you mount it down and you hit it and you really know how to hit it, that bag's going to go really fast. So when an actual fighter is boxing, you're basically fighting somebody in slow motion. That's why Ryan's can easily hit you.
That's why he's so quick too, right?
He's so quick because that bag allows you to reflex, like, oh, boom, you know. And if you can catch it from here, you're gonna catch it. Yeah. So could you imagine boxers just moving like this? Don't.
Yeah.
You know, it's easier.
Right.
And that's why it's very effective. So, and that's why it's fierce.
Yeah, it's amazing. It's an amazing bag, and like I saw, everybody loves it. You know, everybody. And I know you have. You were just showing me the new Dodger design. It's amazing.
Yes.
Where can they order if they want to go ahead and?
They can order it from www.fiercereflex.com. And what I want to promote today, if I can, is that we've come up with the Youth Hybrid 2.0, which is mainly for kids now.
Amazing.
Because that's where it all started, right?
Yes.
And it was weird because I didn't even think about that until recently, where I could say, you know what, let me make something just as powerful as the Fierce Reflex, the Hybrid 2.0. So I designed it so that I could have kids from 7 years old to 12.
Wow.
Because 13 and 14, remember, when they fight, the minutes are longer.
Right.
You know? So now they're a little bit bigger, and they're, you know, more developed, teenage, more developed. So now they're ready for the hybrid. But before that, you can't give them a hybrid. They're gonna be like, oh my God, this is too much. And then you're gonna give them, you know, platforms where they can stand on the kid shoes. You know, and I've seen that one happen. You know, with Smokey.
Yeah, Smokey.
You know, and but now she loves the youth hybrid.
The youth. Oh my, she's good too.
Oh yeah, she's
really good.
Yeah, so. I've had her come down, you know, and now they're loving it for it because it's their size,
right?
And the weight is, you know, the max weight is 125 to 130. Although I had a 178 hit it, and it still worked, but, it's mainly for kids.
Question, is there an actual way of using it correctly, or is it just how they're feeling it and they can make their own moves? I mean, how does it work?
Well, the way it works is that, yes, you could apply your skills, your slipping, your stepping back, your, a counter you can block, There's so many techniques that you can use on that bag. But as soon as you throw the hook, it's going to come around. So that's when you can step back or duck, I mean, there's so many ways that techniques that you can use that will apply to this bag here. But my advice is to always mount it down. If you want something to get the benefit of the fierce reflex, is to mount it down and then put the sandbag over it. If you can't mount it down, which some people can't, then just put the sandbag and put a 45-pound weight on top of that.
Oh, nice.
And you see Canelo doing that, but in Canelo's gym, he mounts it down. But if he goes somewhere else where he trains out in Reno or something, they won't allow you to mount it down. So he's got weights that he puts on there, but it's still a fierce reflex, But to get the best benefit is to mount it down. Yeah. And you'll see it fly. Yes, and make sure that the knob is all the way in, insert it, and then you'll see the speed of it, coming
Is there
out.
anything else you're going to be coming out with, like different designs of anything else?
Well, yes, there is going to be. We're going to be doing merch, of course, that's going to be applied to it. But right now, we've got the youth hybrid for kids, which is good enough because, trust me, that carries a lot of, area. Kids are like dime a dozen. They're beautiful. Yeah. They're out there, man. Yeah. And now you're having girls. His daughter,
my daughter, definitely.
Your niece. I mean, they're like, they're just killing it right now. And I'm impressed. Ulicia, who's over there in Vegas, she's a 12-time national champion.
Wow.
And she's only 12 years old.
Yeah, I seen her the other day.
And we gave her a bag too.
Oh, beautiful.
So
beautiful.
she's like hitting it, man. So if you want to go to our website, go ahead, fiercereflex.com.
And definitely, you definitely got to get yours because they're amazing and amazing product. And remember, there's only one bag of champions out there because there's a lot of people that are trying to mimic what Henry's doing, but you know, there's only one. There's only one bag.
And that's the way it should be. Just like there's only one Mercedes. There's only one Dental Experts of Riverside.
Hey, there we go.
Come on, there's only one. So you find out which is the real one and go get it.
Definitely.
Especially the one you corrected. Basically, you already adjusted all the little keys, all the little breaking points and everything.
Yeah, I mean, but it takes a while. Always remember, in life, any business, whether it could be a massage thing, it could be a dental, it could be a mechanic, automobile service, boxing, it's going to take time. It's going to take years.
Yes.
So don't think it's going to happen in a month or two.
2.
It's going to take years. But again, follow your path to glory.
Yep.
Follow it. And you should get there.
Yeah, and then sometimes we get what we paid for. I mean, might as well if you're, your child or somebody is really into boxing, get the right stuff. I mean, because at the end of the day, you're gonna spend more money trying to fix things here and there versus you get the original one. I mean, and it's not even that expensive.
I like what you're saying.
It's
get
true.
what you pay for.
Providing the proper tools, basically.
Yeah,
and that's true. So just follow that path as well because you're right. If there's break, then they got to fix it.
Right.
Okay. If mine breaks, I dig deep, and lately things have been good. But the good news is that I have a warranty.
There we go.
So if something happens, say less. Here it is, man.
There we go.
No questions asked. Just like any, Costco, just like, Discount Tires, just like, I mean, they give you a replacement.
Yeah. Right.
That's part of life, I mean, you can have a brand new tire and then boom, you're like, what the heck happened here,
Yeah,
I had a Porsche that just, the tire just blew in 2 weeks and it's brand new. So I was like, whoa, hey, don't worry, sir, just bring it. We'll take care of it. See, and that's how I am too. Where it's like, just like dental, something happens, hey, we'll take care of you. It's part of life.
Right.
It's okay.
Right.
Just make sure that it's not a consistent thing.
Yeah.
But, you have to have good warranty.
Right.
And right now we have a good warranty.
Yeah.
You're basically the AMG of the bagger.
Let's
right?
go.
Let's go.
Let's go.
And there's solid parts too. There's
They're
solid
solid.
parts.
Solid.
It's amazing. I mean, it he was saying, it didn't happen from one day to the next, and
No, it didn't.
you can see that the way they are designed. It took years, to design them, and man, I can tell you that I attest by it, man. It's a beautiful. And not only is it beautiful, but it's functional, and that's the best.
And you see it at gyms.
Yes, definitely.
You see it at gyms, and if you don't see it, let me know.
Yeah.
There you go.
There we go.
Or if any gyms don't have them.
Yeah. I mean, and champions, one coach that I heard, and he called me, it was 98, 82 boxing or something. It's very close to it, but he asked his boxer who's going for a world title. He goes, "Hey, this is your ring. We bought you everything. We bought you the bags and everything. Is there anything else you need?" He goes, "Yeah, I need the first reflex bag."
Hey, there we go.
So his dad called me, "Hey, man, we need one. Hey, man, don't worry, I'll be there."
That's awesome.
And we set it up for him, and he's like, yeah, I love it. So it's like, if, like I said, Bag of Champions, they were thinking about it, Jake Paul.
Mm-hmm.
And let me tell you something about Jake Paul. Some people like him, some people don't.
Either you love him or you hate him.
Exactly.
But guess who you think started Jake Paul in boxing?
Who did?
Me.
Wow, that's awesome.
Him.
That's awesome.
I
That's
started
awesome.
him in boxing, I started him in Jack because he came to visit us in La Jolla, and he visited Ryan, and he was amazed with Ryan. And he says, "Hey, Ryan, I always was fascinated about, boxing." He goes, "Any way you could help me?" And he goes, "Dad, can you help him?" I'm like, "All right, I'll help him." So I
cool.
taught him for his first jab, and we working out, but that's another story.
Yeah.
Definitely.
But guess what? I told him, well, since I'm starting you, you're gonna have to be, you're gonna have to hit the first reflex back.
There.
And he's like, "Wow, okay, I'll do this." And now the way he hits it, oh my God, you seen him?
Yeah,
in the
yeah,
video.
definitely.
That guy don't play with that bag. He hits that sucker.
Yeah.
Just like Ryan does. I mean, but they hit it hard.
Yeah.
You're not supposed to. You don't have
It's
to.
just like tap, huh?
Yeah, you don't have to hit it that hard, but these people just whack it.
Yeah.
Whack the heck out of it. So that's why you always, just in case, you have to have like a spare tire. Just in case, like, brother. Okay, let's put it on, screw it back, and let's go. Well, okay,
Back to it, let's go.
And they don't care. They're like,
Yeah, no,
all right,
definitely.
you know what I mean?
Yeah, no, and it's
It's
an
fun.
amazing bag. I mean,
Yeah.
like I was saying. So, guys, if you guys haven't ordered yours, please do.
Yes.
Because, man, trust me,
Yes.
it's worth it. It's
Thank
worth
you.
it.
Thank you.
But going back to your boxing story, so tell us, how did it felt when he won for the first time that belt?
Well, he won the interim WBC against Romero Duno.
Right.
Now, as you know, Romero Duno was Philippine, I believe.
Right.
And this guy was, he beat Chimpa Gonzalez, from Golden Boy. And he knocked him out, remember? And we were there, and we were like, oh, my God, because everybody was like, Chimpa this, Chimpa that,
Right.
Chimpa Gonzalez is the main one. And then when I met Robert Diaz and at Golden Boy, I said, who's your number one guy? And they were like, what do you mean, who's it? So I said, well, I just want to know. They said, you don't know Chimpa Gonzalez? I said, well, no, that's what I'm asking. They go, well, he's our number one guy. He goes, and he's, we really praise him, I'm like, oh, good, And then I said, well, what's his weight? And his weight was, I think, 135 at the time. And I was like, I said, that's close to my son's weight. He goes, yeah. Like, he chuckled like, yeah, right. I was like, I'm just saying he's close to my son weight. I mean, I would love to spar him if it's possible. He goes, nah, man, he goes, don't worry about it. You know, like, don't worry about it. I was like, my son's won all these 15 national champions. You think this guy's going to be a match? I said, it'll be a challenge, but it's not going to be like, we can't do it.
Right.
So we go to Pico Rivera, you know. And they invited me, and I didn't know about this gym, but there's some gyms out there that are very secretive, you know, where nothing but champions go there, you know. So we walk in, you know, and we're like, you know, man, I'm like, hey, there's some good fighters here. I recognize them. And I'm thinking, you know, I said, isn't that Chipo Gonzalez? You know, and then Ryan's like, yeah, that's him, Dad. I said, all right. I said, okay. So I said, I told Oscar De La Hoya's brother, you know, and I said, hey, any way we could spar? That's my fighter, you know. I said, well, yeah. I said, is there any way we could get a sparring session here with him? And they were like, yeah, sure, no problem. Oh my God, totally destroyed him.
Wow.
Totally destroyed him.
Wow.
And he calls Oscar, man, you gotta see this guy. Who is he? Ryan Garcia. Oh yeah, my, you know, he's already talking to him. But yeah, what happened? What didn't happen? He goes, this dude is awesome, you know. And they're like amazed. They were like surprised. So when we fought, when Chimpa fought Romero Duno. And Romero Duno knocked him out like 3 times, knocked him down. And that's when I think it was Thomas Taylor that just said, hey, that's it. Tom Taylor, like, you know, said, that's it. And, you know, Golden Boy just turned around and looked at Ryan. Do you think you could beat this guy? And Ryan's like, yeah, don't worry about that.
What do you say? I don't think I know I could.
Because it's weird. It's weird.
Right.
It's how boxing is.
Right.
It's a change of guards, man.
Right.
You know? And that's how it works. I mean, I'm sorry to say, but that's the truth.
Yeah,
you know?
no, it is true.
It's the truth. It's a cycle.
Yeah.
You know, it's sometimes a vicious cycle.
Right.
Because they hold no, you know, bar, you know. And they're like, next, you know? It's like, okay, you know. Our number 1 boxer just got knocked out. Who's next?
Right.
And since Romero Duno wasn't in their circle, they wanted him, but they're like, no, we got Ryan Garcia. So, okay, Ryan, you want to prove yourself? Let's try it, you know? And Ryan says, well, you know, aren't I supposed to fight this guy first? Yeah, but you know what? You know, you're going to do this. And Ryan said, no. I trained for this guy.
Right.
I didn't train for Romero Duno. Romero Duno will be next.
You'll have to wait, basically.
Yeah, and Brian's like, and they were like, what? You're giving demands? No, it's just that it's common sense. If I'm training for this guy, then we're going to, yeah, but this guy went to jail. I said, well, then we were just reschedule.
Right.
We're not going to just jump in. We're going to reschedule.
Right.
We got to train for this fight, and that's what you're supposed to do. Supposed to train for your fighter, for this fighter, not for this fighter.
Right.
Because he's got different styles. So you got just like anything else. Everything's got to be done correctly.
At its time, yeah.
You know, and I mean, it only makes sense. So when the time came, it's okay. You're gonna end up fighting Romero Duno for the interim WBC title.
Wow.
You know, and what did Ryan do? Knocked him out in the first round. And that was it, man. Like, you know. And Ryan turned around and looked at Golden Boy. I told you. And they're like, oh, my God. It's beautiful, man. It's just a story, man. That just goes on and on and on.
Wow, no, and I mean, it's just from there, the rest was history. Yeah. I'm pretty sure.
Well, you know, but again, boxers, you know, they need to be mind, body, and soul. They got to be 100%.
Right.
And if you don't have that, please just make it to a high percentage, you know, where you'll be safe, you know.
Right.
You don't want to be below 50. Trust me. Don't do it.
Right.
Call the fight off. Call it off. Because that's where you can get hurt. and you're most likely you're not gonna win,
Right.
but you might get hurt to a point where you won't even be able to jump again. So be careful. So if you're at a high percentage, it's got to be a high 90s
Right.
to accept it. But you want 100%. That's what you want. You've got to have 100%. But again, high 90s is acceptable, and you'll be surprised. Most boxers are up there,
Mm-hmm.
and that's what you want.
Oh, definitely. I'm
Yeah.
pretty sure
Mm-hmm.
if you don't feel good, I mean, everything goes to your head, and then
Yes.
again, it's
Yeah.
one of those things where
Mm-hmm.
it affects your performance.
Right. Well, that's what happened when he fought Rolly.
Mhm.
Ryan called, and admitted, like,
Mm-hmm.
I don't feel right.
Right.
Yikes,
Yeah.
We're already in training camp.
Yeah.
Something's wrong. But, that's the past,
Yeah.
And now we're back, and now I
Better
would
than
say
ever.
he's right now he's at a high percentage.
Amazing. Can you say fight date or not yet, or are you guys in talks for the next fight?
It's gonna be early next year for sure.
Beautiful.
Yeah, I know the date. I mean,
Right.
but I don't want to say it because
Yeah.
things can change. But
Yeah.
Right.
it's set. Is that it's gonna be nice, and most likely it's gonna be in Las Vegas.
Oh, awesome.
It's not
awesome.
gonna be a COVID environment.
Right.
Yeah.
Where it's like nobody's welcome. Like
Right.
Empty stadium.
That's another thing
Yeah.
that can affect a boxer.
Oh, definitely.
It's dead. It's
Yeah.
a dead zone.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think also it like
Mhm.
because I know we were talking behind cameras the other day,
Mhm.
but just the area where they had it in New York, I think that was a little bit
Yeah.
Too crazy. I
too
think.
crazy, and I think
Yeah.
it didn't feel like an actual.
Yeah, I mean, again, everything's is an experiment, and Turki Al-Sheikh, nice man, of course he is, but his vision, it just sometimes doesn't come out the way he think it would come out, and but you learn from that, just like
Yeah.
anything else. But
Right.
I like his vision in other areas. But in this particular case, it just didn't work because
Right.
you have to have the crowd inside.
Yes.
You can't just have them watching in the monitors. Come on.
Yeah.
It's like they're excited. They
Right.
want to be part of it.
Yeah, it's not the
And
same experience.
It's not the same experience, so it just became a deadbeat. And then,
I'm pretty sure the noise of the traffic because there was a
Yeah.
lot of traffic.
so,
and
but
stuff like that, so it's-
nobody. I mean, it was a dead zone.
right.
It kind of reminded me of that part of the movie of Rocky, how
Yeah.
where I think it was when he was fighting against that Tommy guy in the
Yeah.
street right there in front of the
Right.
gym.
It was
Right.
like that. It was like
Yeah.
wasn't really authentic,
Yeah.
where when you make the entrance, you see everything happen. You see the lights, glowing and all that, and the entrance, the music and all that. I mean, you see it all.
Mhm.
And that's what excites, a fighter. It's like the adrenaline kicks in, even though they could be nervous.
Yeah,
Right.
They could be nervous because that does make you nervous.
Right.
I'm sure fighters go in there nervous, right? Even though their facial expressions don't show it, I'm sure it's some they're
Type of
feeling
ner-
some type of way inside and everything.
Absolutely. In fact, they're petrified, some of them. But when you're in the ring, you got to know it's your job.
Yeah,
Right.
It's something that you got to get rid of these cobwebs and say, hey, man, I'm not here to be nervous anymore. I'm here to fight.
yeah.
Right.
And then it goes away. But the entrance is probably the hardest part for a boxer because he has to go through that. And he's faking his expression like, I got it. But deep down inside, it's just like it's a scary feeling.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
damn, this is just way too overwhelming.
Right. Henry, given the fact that you have a long history in boxing, with everything that's going on and being said, where do you see boxing in 5 years?
Well, if they don't correct it, it can be sidetracked. You gotta be careful because just as much as De La Hoya, sees it, I see what he's talking about.
Mm-hmm.
Because you can't change something that's already been written.
Right.
And if you start changing things, that's when things can go sour. And most people are saying that boxing needs a uplift. It needs a transition. You gotta bring it back to the way it was. You can't be picking and choosing. You gotta have good fights out there.
Right.
Because that's what people pay for.
Yeah.
You can't have a monster fighting a small one. You can't have that. It becomes a circus act now.
Right.
Just don't do that. Keep the sport real, authentic, and just keep, again, politics. Keep that aside. Just let the fighters be who they are and give the people what they want.
And even the refs, keep them neutral, like you said, because even in pro fights, you see that you're like,
look what happened when Ryan fought Devin Haney.
Yeah, exactly.
And that was horrible. Harvey Doc or whatever his name is, but that's just the worst person that I've seen. That's obviously biased, and he knows it too.
Yep.
And hopefully I'll meet up with him.
Yeah.
And remind him.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah, no, definitely. No, and it's one of those things where you sometimes, you don't understand what refs are looking at when it's right in front of them.
Well, I mean,
it's just again, politics.
Politics is a thing that you have to overcome, and the only way that you can overcome politics, you got to knock them out.
Yeah.
Just knock them out. Show them who you are. You have the Julio Cesar Chavez, senior.
Yes.
You have all these fighters, Roberto Duran, and these fighters that Marvin Hagler, he had to go through all these things, and this is something that you have to fight through.
Right.
And today's era is no different.
Mm-hmm.
It's just that they look nicer,
Right.
They're more dressed up, but they're wicked. Some of them are bad.
Yeah.
Some of them are bad, and you have to overcome it by knocking some bitch out.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, but that's the truth.
Yeah, it's the
Because
truth, no.
if
Real
you don't
truth.
do that, they want to knock you out.
Definitely.
So you have to fight through that.
Yeah.
And you become a different person now.
Yeah, definitely. Favorite boxer? Your
Roberto
favorite? Roberto Duran.
Yeah, Roberto Duran. Yeah, he was my idol.
Yeah.
Somebody that overcame a lot of obstacles and weight classes and all that. I love that, man. I mean, you could see it. In fact, Roger Mayweather, when I went to their gym, Mayweather's gym, before I even saw Mayweather, I saw Roger Mayweather first, and I introduced Ryan. They already knew Ryan, but they were like, he tested me. He goes, out of all these boxers, who do you think that is one of the best out of the? And I had like 100 of them there.
Right.
And I said, well, I just like Roberto Duran here. He goes, man, you're absolutely right. He goes, and the reason why I feel the way you do, he goes, because he's the only one that beat Sugar Ray Leonard at his prime.
Yeah.
He goes, you do know boxing.
Yeah.
He goes, because a lot of people here don't know boxing. He would tell you straight out, you don't know boxing. And he's just amazing man, coach, and but just
Exactly.
what a person goes through, and if you could beat someone, I feel Ryan was set up with the Haneys,
Right.
because Haney was on the rise, but they don't realize that Ryan had beaten him in the amateurs. It was 3-3. And we knew that, hey, going into it, just like, when Lamont Roach Jr. fought Tank Davis and the amateurs, we did the same with Haney, So we know each other. We know each other. The promoters and coaches might not know this, but we know.
Right.
So we knew going in it's going to be awesome because we know how to beat him.
Yeah.
And we just know. And when that happened, it just crushed them.
Yeah.
Just like when Roberto beat Sugar Ray Leonard.
Yeah.
So I'm thinking, something must have happened that they said, oh, well, he was tested,
Yeah.
Come on, bro.
Yeah.
Come on, bro. I mean, think about it. Ryan beats all these guys before him. Ryan's been negative all this time.
And all of a sudden,
And
he's
all of a
positive.
sudden,
Yeah.
he's tested like this. Like, whoa. So to me, that's a setup.
Right.
I mean, you know, and even Timothy Bradley says something. Shakur Stevenson.
Yeah.
You know, they're like, oh, that's not Ryan, you know. So it was just something, you know, and I believe he passed away, Victor Conte.
Yes.
Yes.
From Snack, yeah.
Yeah.
So, you know, as much as I feel that Ryan has been set up or anything like that or something, hey, you know, rest in peace, you know,
Yeah.
because you got to give people respect. Because I don't wish death on anybody.
No,
Right.
of course.
You know, I don't. But when you're crooked like that, you
Yeah.
know, when you're crooked or something goes wrong, you know, you start to wonder why. Why is this possible? Because I know I'm his dad.
Right.
I would tell you, and I'll tell you the first thing, he did drink.
Right.
My son did drink.
Right.
I mean, it was obvious.
Right.
I think he even smoked.
Right.
And I try to tell him, you know, what are you doing? You know,
Yeah.
but it's like, hey, Dad, I know what I'm doing. And he's also faking it in some other areas.
Right.
You know, when he did the weigh-ins, that was
Yeah.
apple cider. It
Yeah,
wasn't a beer.
All the
Right.
beard thing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it was apple cider.
Yeah. Yeah.
But only we know this.
Exactly.
Only we know this. But the way we beat him, it just basically crushed him.
Yeah.
So he's climbing that mountain to just redeem himself.
I don't think he's ever gonna be the
But
same.
I don't think so either.
I mean, last fight. I mean, the
Yes.
way I seen him, it's like
Yeah.
it's still something there.
Yeah, yeah. And that can play on you.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
again, mind, body, and soul has got to be 100%.
Yeah.
And this fight that he's going to be having against, you know, Brian Norman is something that he's got to be careful.
Yeah.
Because anybody that can hit and get close to you, be careful.
Yeah.
You know, I don't know his height, but Devin always likes to fight shorter guys.
Mm.
But when he fought Ryan was taller than him, man. It's like a big mistake, dude.
Yeah.
Right.
Big mistake.
Yeah.
You're fighting someone that's tall, that's got power and speed, and can knock you out.
Man.
Of course, the referee helped him out.
Yeah.
A lot.
Yeah.
Just terrible.
Yeah.
Just terrible, man. I just can't wait to run across
Yeah.
him.
Yeah.
You know, and just tell him what I feel.
Give him your peace of mind.
I have to.
Yeah.
It's just in me.
Yeah.
And I hope he's listening or whatever. It doesn't matter. But every interview that I get, I'm going to tell people
Yeah.
the guy was very biased.
Mhm.
And you can't be like that. Not in boxing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You know, whether, you know, this, what kind of nationality, doesn't matter. Be neutral.
Yeah.
Right.
Don't take sides because it's a sport that's very dangerous.
It's a sport also where both fighters are giving it their all, putting
Yeah.
their body through
Right.
the toll and everything for them
Right.
to come out with the outcome
Right,
like that.
right, right.
Oh, you know what? In my eyes, you didn't take it.
Yeah. You
But
get
in the-
hit and
yeah.
you get hit and and I didn't mean to interrupt you, but you get hit and you're falling and then the referee calls it a slip, dude.
Yeah.
Come on,
Yeah.
bro.
Yeah.
You got hit and you're out.
Yeah.
You're
Even when
based-
they replay the slit, you're
Yeah,
like, that was
come
no
on,
slit,
bro.
dude. Come
You
on.
know, Ryan's like, what? You know?
Yeah.
So, you know, but hey, you know, the ones that can really fight, you know, those are ones you gotta take your hats off to. You know, I think Ryan's toughest fights were Luke Campbell and Oscar Duarte, and them dudes are no joke. Them
Yeah.
dudes are just. I know, the Oscar Duarte. I'm almost positive I would favor Oscar Duarte against Devin Haney.
Yeah.
Oscar Duarte is no joke.
Wow.
Man, he's no joke.
Yeah.
He just needed to develop more. But,
Right.
you know, the way he fought Ryan was like, made me like think like,
Yeah.
wow, you know, why did we pick him so soon? Yeah. This dude is like a beast, you know. But I knew Ryan wasn't 100. Remember, mind,
Right.
body, and soul. I knew that he was 100%,
Right.
or at a high percentage. So I was like, okay, just continue doing what you're doing and let's move on. But
Yeah.
it's beautiful to watch that
Oh,
fight.
definitely.
Watch it again, and
Yeah.
you'll see.
Yeah. Who would you like? Well, as a matter of fact, would you like a rematch with Haney?
Yes, of course. We honor that, of course, absolutely.
And this time we'll do all the testing in front of him so he won't come back with that.
Everything, and there'll be the same result.
Yeah.
I'm sorry to say, you know,
No, don't be. That's the truth.
Defend someone, that are Haney's fans, but sorry
Right.
to say that, but it's the truth because I'm his dad. I know his capability, and I know that it probably will be even worse because Ryan will not be drinking, will not be doing this thing. He'll be straight on, and that makes him more dangerous.
Yeah. I mean, like you said, you know him, and you're his dad. So
exactly.
And if you run, because you got knocked down so many times, if you run, now you've proved our point again.
Yeah.
You can't beat us
yeah,
because you're running.
yeah. Well, I think with Ramirez's fight, that's what.
That was horrible.
Yeah,
That's horrible.
I'm
It's
sorry.
like, and that's why Turkey Al-Sheikh says, you're here to fight, not to run.
Yeah.
That's why he wants to make the ring even smaller.
Mm.
Not as small as this, but
Or make his shoes even heavier, shit.
something, but he wants the battle. He wants, he wants that, and something that, fighters got to understand. Go with the times, but just be prepared.
Awesome. Where do you see Ryan in 5 years?
I see him very, very positive champion. I see him that he could do so many things aside from boxing. I love boxing. He loves it.
Right.
But remember, people get older,
Yeah.
People get older and they go to different avenues. They experiment, or they just have something on their mind. They can become a promoter. They can become an actor. They can become whatever you want. You're still barely in your late 20s or 30, early 30s,
Right.
You have the whole world ahead of you,
Right.
And so there's so many things. That's why I said I see him in 5 years as a world champion. I see him as somebody that he could improve boxing. He can fight the politics. His voice can be recognized, and he also can be do other things that he'll be known as. This is where it all started. So he's got a good journey ahead of him.
That's good.
Nice. Henry, do you have other boxers besides Ryan that you're mentoring and
Well, I
coaching?
mentor a lot of fighters, but I don't, again, I'm more private. I'd like to just stick to one
Right.
in person. But of course, anybody asks me questions, they're going to have a earful, that they're going to say, wow, this guy knows it all. And I know all the politics. I know all the things to
You've
get you to win.
experienced it yourself,
I've
for
experienced. I went through so many things, and I'm going to tell them what to expect because it's going to happen.
Right.
So
Right.
I'm one of the persons to talk to, because there's other people that I know that went through what I went through. So they're good to talk to as well. So knowledge is power.
Yeah.
Right.
And you want to be involved with those people because they're going to give you the direct answer, not the answer that you want to hear.
Right.
They're going to give you the direct answer. That's the one you want. Trust me, that's the one you want to talk to.
Definitely.
You don't want the sugar coating or nothing.
No, you can't. Not with me. I'm happy where I'm at. I love it. So why should I hold any secrets? Not when it comes to boxing. No way. You got to help people. You got to give them the truth.
Especially when they're going in, they're not
Yeah.
knowing, blindsided.
Expect this to happen. And I can show you how to win. But I can show you what can improve your timing, your speed. And that's the fierce reflex back. And I'm not kidding you.
Yep.
I've seen it with my boys.
Right.
You've seen it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're just,
Super fast.
super fast, and it makes you, and I'm glad that gyms are already using it, but I evolved to a point where it's perfection, and that's what you always seek for in a boxer, perfection, but you have to have the right tools to get it that way, to make them that way.
Mm.
Definitely.
And good sparring too.
Oh, I bet. And I mean, it's just insane.
Good sparring, man. That's because that will tell you. And in as an amateur, always remember, and this is a good answer, a good, is that when somebody says enter a tournament, you're going to be excited. You're going to say, wow, I'm going to the Gene Lewis tournament, or I'm going to the regionals. I'm going to go ahead and the nationals. I'm going to the silver gloves, the golden gloves. I'm going to be in that. Okay, that's great. That's powerful. But this is what you have to understand, is that what are your chances of winning that national? And then people say, what do you mean? Well, what are your chances? Who have you beaten?
Mm-hmm.
Go to different gyms. You're more than one. It's free, right? It's free. Call them up and ask them, hey, can I spar your guy? The coach is going to welcome it. Yeah, of course. And he could be your weight class, or he could be a little bit higher or a little bit lower, but at least 5-7 pounds, give or take. Spar that guy. Because you know that guy is top in his league, and maybe he even won a national already. So if you can't beat him in sparring, what are your chances of winning the tournament?
Right.
Don't do it. Don't do it. Because it's good to tell people, and they're going to be happy. They might donate some money for you, sponsor you. It's beautiful. But are you going to win? Probably not, because you couldn't even win here.
Yeah.
Right.
So I'm telling people, be careful. Learn the ropes. There you go. Learn the ropes.
Yeah.
If you can't win there, what makes you think you're going to win in the tournament?
Yeah.
Because you're in Texas now.
Right.
Texas is brutal.
Right.
Boxers are no joke.
Yeah.
Like Virgil Ortiz,
Yeah.
These people are no joke, man.
Right.
They know how to fight.
Yeah.
And every national that we went to, most likely we would fight a Texas guy. And we beaten them. But they're no joke, man. There's a lot of them, but keep, as an amateur, remember, go through that first. And if you could give them a good, decent sparring session, or even beat them, then go to a tournament. Because you're already beaten this guy in sparring, and he's already entered a national tournament and won. Now you could say, hey, my son's ready, or my daughter. Trust me, that's your answer right there.
Everything in due time.
Due
I
time.
think everything in due time. Well, Henry, again, a pleasure having you.
All right.
Thank you so much for giving us this moment in time and giving us your time. Always a pleasure having you, brother.
Thank you.
And very, very blessed to have you here. Is there anything that you want to go ahead and tell the audience before we
Well, I
leave?
do want to continue to give a shout out to Dental Experts of Riverside. I mean, not only does he help you smile, this guy is doing podcasts here for boxers, so he's a true fan. I mean, it's beautiful. This man is awesome here. He's got a good staff. I mean, what more do you want? This is a place to be.
Thank you.
Let's go, brother.
Thank you. Once again, thank you for tuning in. 10 Count by Deor. Don't miss this episode because it's been an amazing, amazing episode.
Sir.
Thank you.
Amen. All right, brother. All right.